Ladies, gentlemen, and brothers, sisters, today we are celebrating Buddha's Teaching Day. I'm so happy that many of our students found Dharma amazing. And Buddha Shakyamuni taught Dharma 2,936 years ago at Varanasi, India. Since then, many masters and many practitioners practiced Dharma and they got amazing good result. We also exactly what Buddha taught, we practicing here. And therefore I asked Mr. Yogi, Guru Yogi, his name is called Nick. He will teach us.
Thank you, Kempo. My name is Nick, and when trying to come up with my topic, I teamed up with Adam. And so you can refer to his video. We actually talked about what Kempo taught as the 12 wisdoms. And at first I didn't really understand why they were called the 12 wisdoms, but I think I figured it out last night while preparing to give this teaching. But basically, in order to give us some perspective on these 12 wisdoms, I'm just going to refer kind of what they encompass. The 12 wisdoms are ways about how we should think about our past. And so the past does not exist, so why do we need to talk about it? Why is it even important? I think there's two basic reasons why we need to think about the past. And that's because time is our thinking. Our thinking is time. And the past was basically our past thoughts. So our past thoughts are gone, but every thought leaves an imprint, and that imprint reincarnates into the next present moment. So my positive thinking creates positive karma. And that positive karma is going to ripen as pure perception. It's going to ripen as happiness at some point in the future, according to interdependent origination, causes and conditions. My thinking is the cause. All sentient beings, enlightened beings, and Buddhas are my conditions. My negative thinking creates negative karma, which is going to ripen as my suffering. So even though the past is gone, even though my past thoughts do not exist any longer, the energy from those thoughts, the imprint, the memory, is still here now in my present moment thinking. So that's one reason the past is still important. Another reason the past is important is because we think about the past right now. And so, even though it doesn't exist, when we think about it right now, that affects our present moment. But the way we think about the past right now is actually going to create our future. So, obviously it's very important. And so this 12 wisdoms, I think it's really cool, and it generalizes and categorizes all possible ways we could think about the past in 4 basic categories. We could categorize it into good things I've done, bad things I've done, good things others have done, and bad things others have done. So you can see about all of my memories of the past, I could categorize them all into those 4 categories. Adam talked about the first category, good things I've done, and how we should think about that in order to increase our positive thinking. I'm going to take on the second category, which is bad things I've done. So this practice, or this meditation of the 12 wisdoms, is called the accumulation of discipline. And generally speaking, discipline in Buddhism is an action. That means not harming myself and others. So we'll see how this connects. All right, so first of all, we're going to think about bad things. I'm going to think about bad things I've done in the past. And I think this relates to the fact that this is really good practice because we feel guilty about what we did in the past. Maybe sometimes we pretend like we've forgotten about it or whatever. But I think actually a lot of us all the time, we're either worrying about the future, worrying about the past, and we're never really in the moment because of this. So this constant worry and thinking about the past creates like really habitual patterns. And maybe we don't notice that we're thinking about it, but a lot of our time we're meditating on our regrets on the past and on our guilt, basically. And we call this self-degradation. Because when we think a lot about the past in a guilty way, we have a tendency to think, I'm bad. And really this goes against the deepest principles of Buddhism. To think you're bad is not good. It's going to lead to bad results. And when we think we're bad, that thinking has a power, and it really limits our whole perception of reality. And you can see it limits it in 2 ways. One way, because when we did do negative thinking in the past, that did create negative karma, which does limit our perception. But it also filters our perception because we're spending our time thinking about that instead of just being here in the moment. So, how do we practice the accumulation of discipline? The first step is to remember. You can start with a list of maybe 10 or so things from the past, negative things that I did. And so it's taught as remember negative actions that we've done. But really remember that the real negative things we've done was negative thinking. All of our negative actions are done out of negative thinking. So really remember, you start with a list of 10 things that you've done negatively. I'm not going to give specific examples. I don't want to go to jail. So basically, it's never going to really start this process unless we really admit to ourselves that those things were bad. So we have to understand the Four Noble Truths. We have to understand that really our negative thinking is literally going to cause my own suffering, to be conditioned for all beings suffering. And that second exponent, really understanding that my negative thinking is a condition for everybody, all beings, to suffer. If I really understand that, then I can have strong regret. So we could use a metaphor that regret is like soap. Like if you're dirty, you take a shower. First you got to put on that soap to get that dirt off. So let's regret specific things, put that soap directly on there and rub hard, and really think that thing was horrible, and really feel disgusted that I did that thing. I wish I had never done that thing. If you really, really strongly feel that, that's regret. So one thing about regret is you do not want to get stuck there. That's where most of us are stuck. We got to move on. Realize that now we're not doing those things. If we are doing those things still, stop. We need to learn from that. So first step was regret. We need to move on to the next step, rejoice, that now I'm not doing those things. Be grateful that right now I have positive thinking. And also rejoice and be grateful that I recognized that my past negative actions were bad. Obviously I'm learning. I'm going in the right direction. I'm accumulating wisdom because now I see those were bad. So rejoice in that. Rejoice in your positive thinking right now. So that's the third step, and you can see we're kind of getting out of our habitual patterns of thinking, oh, I'm so bad, I did so bad. Now we're thinking, okay, I'm not doing so bad anymore. I'm here right now, I rejoice. So let's go to the third step, which is really going to take off that soap, finish with regret. The third step, I think, is the most important part of this process of the accumulation of discipline. Some dry mouth. So the most important step we call commitment. And so this is how, if you've done negative things in the past, the way to really purify those is to commit, never do those again. And you could commit, if you say this to different objects, that helps make it more powerful, but really it's yourself, that decision within your own thinking, really decide this was bad, it was horrible, I'll never do it again. And this commitment, I think, is why we call this the accumulation of wisdom. Because right there we've transformed our guilt and our negative habitual patterns of thinking, we've transformed that into wisdom. Because now I said I'll never do it again. And so, basically that's washing off the soap. You're done regretting. Once you really commit, you'll never do it again, then really think. Like, you could stop worrying about it anymore. It's gone. And really just be able to let go. And if you really, really do that, you'll experience more clarity than you had before. You'll really be able to be in the present moment because you're not worrying about the past anymore. You're not bad. What you did is bad, and that's gone. But when you're able to let go, you realize who you really are. You're able to see yourself clearly, see actuality clearly, and you realize that you're good. Your past negative actions were bad, but now you've learned from them, you've developed. You, right here in the present moment, are perfect. So if you really let go, you actually, you'll have a deep experience of seeing things more clearly as they are. And this actually leads you to the next step. With this increased clarity of being in the moment, you're going to be able to realize that I'm good, my nature is good, every other being's nature is good. You're going to think that there's countless perfectly realized beings out there. Please help me. May I never do this ever again. And the key to this is to repeat it. As Adam said before, start with big negative things you've done in the past and repeat them until you really feel that you've understood why it was bad, you really regret it, you really commit never to do it again, and now you're going in the right direction. And so, that's the accumulation of discipline, of the 12 wisdoms. Thank you.